Hi, I'm Linda. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. This week I'm going to show you something that I had up on my blog last week. I made this little card and I have had a couple of requests to do a tutorial on how I did it. It's very simple, so this shouldn't take us very long, but I just thought you'd like to see it. It's a little window card. There's no acetate or anything. It's just a blank, empty window card, but a little bit cute, I think. So hopefully you'll enjoy how I did it. So the thing I'm starting with a piece of crisp cantaloupe cardstock. Now I've cut, in Australia we use A4 sizing, so I've cut my A4 piece, which would normally be this size, exactly in half, which gives me the size we call A5, and I'm now going to just fold that in half, exactly in half. Use a bone folder to get a nice flat edge. Okay, lovely. Using a bone folder, much better than fingernails, let me tell you. Okay, so now I've got my card, and then I'm going to use a piece of, now this paper that I'm using today is actually from our Sweet Sorbet 12 by 12 paper pack. It is one of our free items for Sale-A-Bration, which is on right now. It's March 2014 and you can get this. It's available until the end of the month. We have a Sale-A-Bration brochure, and I have to tell you that the printing quality of the paper in the Sale-A-Bration brochure isn't great. It doesn't look that fantastic, but the actual paper, as you can see, is absolutely gorgeous. So trust me, it's lovely, and if you haven't decided what to get as your free Sale-A-Bration item, this is a great choice. So I'm just going to put some snail on the back of this, and I'm going to snail it straight onto my paper. So I've made it 10.5 centimeters wide, which is exactly the right size for my half A4 cardstock piece. Okay, and I've made it 5.1 centimeters high, or 2 inches high. Okay, so you can see it's right down towards the bottom of the card, and now that's snailed on, it's not going anywhere. And then I'm using 2 of the circles from our circle framelits. These are a standard item. They're in our main catalogue. And you can see there's 10 different sizes. I've just picked out 2 that are the size I want, but there's lots and lots of different size circles. These are a really great bargain, actually. I think they're terrific. Now, I've gone ahead and, well, I'll start with the base. Number one thing you have to make sure you do, and let me tell you, I've done this myself, is you need to make sure you open your card before you try and cut it. Okay, if you don't open it, you're going to be cutting through both layers, and then you'll be having to start again. So I'm using my bigger circle, and I'm going to pop it here towards the top of the card. Not very, very close to the top. You don't want to cut through. Just move it down slightly, and I'm going to be cutting the bottom of it. Is going to go through both the pattern paper piece and also the base cardstock. So I'm using a magnetic plate to make it easier. I'm going to pop the cutting plate on, push it into my big shot, and just turn the handle so that it cuts straight through the front of the card. And that creates my window. Very simple. Okay, and then I've actually, just to speed things up a little bit, with the same size circle, I've gone ahead and cut a coastal cabana piece out of, sorry, that's the other one. The same size as what I just did with the card. I've cut this piece here. Okay, pop that to one side. Now the piece that's just come out of the card, this piece here, we can keep that because we're going to use it again in a minute. Okay, so you can see now the card is exactly the way it should look. I've actually got a couple of them on the go, as you can see. Now, the other thing I need to cut is my pattern paper piece for the front of the card. So I'm using the same Sweet Sorbet paper. It's beautiful paper. I really love this. I think it's one of the best ones we've had in a long while. It's a shame that it doesn't look that great in the catalogue, but it's beautiful. Alright, so I'm just going to decide where would I like, what pieces would I like showing. That's quite nice. Quite like that little bit there, because I'd like to have at least a flower or 2 on the front so that I could put a butterfly on my flower. So you can pick and choose where you would like to cut your circle. This is the next size down from the first circle that I cut. Okay, so this one now, you can see, fits exactly inside this one. Right? That's what's really great about these circles, because you can use them to frame each other, and they do look beautiful. Now I'm actually going, you can use a dauber or you can use a sponge, and I'm going to use crisp cantaloupe, which is the same colour as my base cardstock. Just a bit of a sponge, and I'm just going to go around the outside of this piece just to make it look finished, to make it look like somebody cares. can see that doesn't take long to do. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to give it a little bit more depth. So pop 2 or probably 3 or 4 dimensionals on the back. There we go. Peel the backs off those. And I'm going to pop it straight into the middle. I could sponge around my Coastal Cabana piece as well. That's completely up to you. Just for today, I'm not going to bother doing that to make it a little quicker, but you certainly could. I just pop that pattern paper circle in the middle of the other one, okay? And then I'm going to put some snail over the back of that. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my first piece, just decide where I would like that, where do I want that blue piece to be. I'm actually going to then pop that through the hole, okay? So just make sure, and push it down, make sure it's really stuck, okay? By putting it through the hole, you've got it exactly lined up, okay? And so it's a perfect fit. Alright. Now I'm also going to make a butterfly. You can see my first card had a little butterfly here, okay? And I'm using the Beautiful Wings embossed die for this. Now this time we can't use the magnetic plate because the magnetic plate is too thick to allow you to use the embosslet. So because of this is a little thicker than the framelit dies, we need to go back to our regular plate, and we want to open to tab 1. Okay, so I'm going to use the cutting plates, of course, as always. And this piece that I cut out, the circle that I cut out earlier, I'm just going to pop that in here because I actually want that middle butterfly. And I'm going to pop that in there. Pop my other cutting plate on. And pop that through. So this card has not very much wastage because you can use that centre bit as well. And I want to use this little guy. It cut out all these different size butterflies. So you get 5 little butterflies every time you cut, but I'm using this little one with the dots. And I'm going to use a dauber this time. I'm going to use the crisp cantaloupe again. And I'm just going to sponge with my dauber over the top, and the embossed dots are going to pick up the colour. So we'll end up with a little dotty butterfly. Okay, so he looks pretty cute. I like him. I'm going to fold him in half, and then I'm going to use glue dots. Glue dots are great for applying butterflies. So pop the butterfly, the whole of him, onto the glue dot, onto the roll, push it down hard, remove the butterfly, and now he's got the sticker in the back. That's how you use them. They're really, really easy to use. There we go. And where will I like my butterfly to be? I think I'd like it here. I'm going to do that little flower there. Okay, now I could go ahead and put a little rhinestone in the middle of him like I did on this one. And I've also, you can see, put a larger, one of the bigger rhinestones. I'd probably pop that in the middle of that flower, maybe even that one as well. So you could go to town with your rhinestones if you wanted to. Okay. To get the bottom, I've put a stamp. Now I'm using the word happiness, but you could use any stamp you like, any sentiment. I'm using the Loving Thoughts stamp set because I just love this one. I think it's really pretty. And this time I'm actually going to go to a darker shade. So Calypso Coral is actually really complementary to your Crisp Cantaloupe, but it's a deeper shade, and so it will stand out more. Your words are going to stand out more on the background of the paper, which is the same colour. I don't want to have it disappearing. I want to be able to see it, so you can see happiness works quite well there. And the last thing I did was I wanted to add some leaves. So I really love the way silver coordinates with the glimmer paper coordinates with this pattern paper this time, and I'm using the little leaves die. Now once again, the magnetic plate won't work. We need to use the standard plate. Here it is. We need to have it open at tab 1, the same as we did before for the butterflies. And I find it works best if you cut from the backing side. Alright, and then I'm going to pop the other. Now some papers, some dies will go through 2 layers of paper. Little leaves die is not one of them. You need to cut 1 layer at a time, but it's still a lot easier than trying to cut out all these leaves by hand. Believe me, there's nothing worse. Okay, so you'll find this comes out easier if you cut it back from the reverse side rather than cutting the glimmer side. And it should just pop out for you. It's much, much easier than trying to cut. Can you imagine having to cut all those little leaves out with a pair of scissors? No, thank you. Okay, now I did cut one out earlier just to make life easier. Okay, because I'm actually going to put on 2. If you're wondering how to attach these, you could use glue pen, you could use glue dots. I find snail is a really great thing for these kinds of things because you just run it over the back and it picks it up here and there where you want it. And I'm going to pop this one over here on the right hand side like this. Okay, and I could leave it just at that if I want to. It looks quite nice. I'm actually going to add a little bit more, but I don't want a full one. I'm thinking maybe just a part one. So I'm going to pop these two little tiny leaves here, stick a bit of snail on the back of those, and pop them just down here for a bit of an effect. Okay, a couple of little rhinestones in the middle. And there's one I prepared earlier. There you go. That's how that looks. Very cute, easy little card. Have fun. Enjoy your circles, dies. Enjoy your sweet sorbet paper. And have fun. Back soon. Bye.